So, you said you'd be productive today. And yet, here you are, watching another video, probably in bed, still convincing yourself that technically the day hasn't really started yet. Then suddenly the sun's gone, your to-do list is still untouched, and you're whispering another, "I'll be productive tomorrow," like it's some magical spell. And obviously that magical tomorrow never comes. Meanwhile, in Japan, some dude just spent an hour perfecting the art of making a single rice ball. Why? Because they have a secret to getting shit done without stress. And it's called Kaizen, a method so powerful it'll kick your lazy habits to the curb before you even have a chance to procrastinate. So if you're finally ready to stop hitting snooze on your life, grab your coffee and let's fix this. Trust me, you won't regret it. Unless, of course, you decide to keep doing nothing. First things first, you need to start small and take action now. And I know what you're thinking. Ugh, another person with 0 subscribers telling me to just start. Like that's gonna magically fix my crippling procrastination. But hear me out, because this is different from any other anti-procrastination videos you watched on YouTube. See, your brain is lazy. It loves comfort. It thrives on keeping you in bed, scrolling your phone until your thumb cramps. So when you tell yourself, okay, I'm gonna get my life together and be super productive starting tomorrow, your brain hears, "Oh, sure, Jane," because it knows you're gonna wake up, feel slightly overwhelmed, and then proceed to do absolutely nothing, just like the days before. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, I get it, I'm lazy, but where do I even start? And that, right there, is the problem. Most people never start, not because they don't want to, but because they convince themselves they need some epic life-changing master plan before doing anything. But essentially, you don't even need a life-altering strategy. You just need to start. And you start small and simple. See, a lot of people fail because they go too hard too fast. They wake up one day and decide, that's it. I'm going to change my entire life today. So they plan this insane schedule. 5 a.m. workouts, green smoothies 5 times a day, 10 pages of a self-help book per hour, 3 hours of deep work, no social media, yada yada yada. And by day 2, they're already back in bed watching Netflix, wondering why life is so hard. And that's exactly the problem. They set the bar so high that failure was inevitable. So here's what you do instead. Start ridiculously small, like stupidly small you won't even notice. For example, if you want to read more, read 1 sentence a day. If you want to start working out, just put on your gym clothes. And if you want to be more organized, just start with making your bed. This way your brain won't fight you on tiny tasks, and eventually these small wins start stacking up. That's how you trick your brain into forming real habits. And if you're still thinking, that sounds way too easy, there's no way that works, then congratulations. You've just discovered why you're still stuck. Because doing nothing feels more real to you than making small progress. But small progress is still progress, and when done consistently, it turns into big results. Now, let's talk about the 1-minute rule, aka the cure for "I'll do it later" syndrome. Because have you ever leave a cup on your desk for just a little while, and next thing you know, your whole room looks like it belongs in an episode of Hoarders? Turns out, if something takes less than 1 minute to do, you should just do it immediately. This tiny action keeps your life from turning into chaos, and more importantly, they build momentum. Because when you start handling the small stuff right away, you're training your brain to stop procrastinating on the big stuff too. But listen, I know how our Gen Z brains work. We love instant gratification, we live for it, we thrive for it, but let's be honest, we can't afford it. And that's exactly why most people fail. Because they obsess over the end goal instead of actually enjoying the process. Look, I hate to break it to you, but there's no one-day insta-transformation. There's no dramatic movie montage where you go from total mess to hyper-productive millionaire in 60 seconds. That's not how real life works. The key here is to fall in love with the process. If you want to be fit, then enjoy the workouts, not just the abs. If you want to be rich, you should enjoy learning about making and managing money, not just dreaming about being a billionaire. And if you want to stop being lazy, why not enjoying the act of doing things, and not just the idea of being productive? Because if you don't, you'll spend your whole life chasing results and never actually living. So now you've started small, and things are looking good. You've read a sentence of a book, done exactly one push-up, and maybe even thrown that dirty cup into the sink instead of letting it become part of your room's decor. Life's improving, but then, out of nowhere, your old habits start creeping back in. One day, you're too tired to read. The next, you forget to do that push-up. And eventually, you're back to binge-watching Netflix, convincing yourself that next Monday is the real fresh start. Sound familiar? Yeah, because that's exactly what happens when your habits aren't set up to be stupidly easy and automatic. Because apparently, if you have to use willpower to keep a habit going, you're already losing. Willpower runs out, but systems don't. And that's why you need to design your environment so that doing the right thing is easier than being lazy. Basically, stop relying on motivation and just set up your life in a way that makes good habits the default. And if that still sounds like too much effort, let me introduce you to a cheat code called habit stacking, the art of piggybacking off things you already do. You brush your teeth every day, right? Now, every time you brush your teeth, do one squat. Just one. Don't overdo it. And congrats, you now work out daily. You want to start meditating? Do it for 10 seconds after making your bed. You want to start journaling? Write one paragraph or at least one sentence while drinking your morning coffee. The goal is to attach a new habit to an old one, so it doesn't feel like an extra task. It's just part of what you already do. And now for the final boss, consistency. Listen, you're gonna mess up. You're a human. Maybe you oversleep, maybe you get sick, maybe you just don't feel like it. That's fine. What's not fine is letting one missed day turn into a downward spiral. There's a simple rule for this. Never skip 2 days in a row. Skipping 1 day is normal, but skipping 2? That's how you accidentally quit. Because have you ever told yourself, I'll just miss the gym today, I'll go tomorrow. And then suddenly it's been 6 months? Yeah, that's exactly what we're avoiding here. So be completely honest with yourself. If your habits aren't sticking, the problem isn't that you're not disciplined enough. It's that you haven't made them easy, automatic, and consistent. Fix your environment so good habits take less effort than bad ones. Stack new habits onto things you're already doing so they don't feel like extra work. And for the love of all things productive, don't let one lazy day turn into a lazy life. Now you've set up your environment, stacked your habits like a pro, and actually managed to do something productive for once. But now comes the real challenge, sticking with it. Look, starting is easy. Everyone can wake up one morning and think, I'm gonna change my life today. But consistency, that's what separates the people who actually get their shit together from the ones who just talk about it. Because have you ever wondered why New Year's resolutions die faster than your phone battery at 1%? Because people rely on motivation, and motivation is a flaky little liar. One day, it makes you feel unstoppable. And the next, you're lying in bed, scrolling your social medias, convincing yourself that technically watching productivity videos, like this one, is very productive. That's why you need external reinforcements. Our brain is not always reliable, mine at least. But things like alarms in your phone, sticky notes, and things like those are the very reliable ones. So for example, if you're trying to wake up early, set 5 alarms and put your phone across the room so you have to physically get up. So if you're trying to build a new habit, then make it impossible to ignore. Put a post-it note on your mirror. Spam yourself with calendar notifications. Make your future self feel like an idiot for even thinking about slacking off. And if that doesn't work, tell a good friend of yours to hold you accountable. Bonus points if they roast you every time you fall off track. And here's where most people mess up. They think, I'll celebrate when I hit the big goal. No, wrong. You celebrate every tiny win along the way. You don't wait until you're fluent in a new language. You hype yourself up when you learn one new word. You don't wait until you have a 6-pack. You flex in the mirror the second you see the slightest definition. Sounds dumb? Maybe. But guess what? Your brain eats that shit up. Every time you reward yourself, your brain goes, oh, we like this, let's do it again. And that's how you trick yourself into enjoying the process, instead of just chasing the end result. And if you think small wins don't matter, let me hit you with some math. If you improve by just 1% every single day, in a year, you'll be 37 times better than when you started. That's the power of compounding growth in action. Meanwhile, if you keep slacking off, you're just compounding your bad habits in the opposite direction. And the worst part is that you won't even notice until months have passed, and you're wondering why your life still feels like a mess. So let's be completely real. Success isn't about one huge dramatic change. It's about the small, boring, consistent stuff that adds up over time. Set up reminders so you can't forget your habits. Celebrate every tiny improvement like you just won an Olympic medal. And most importantly, just get 1% better every day. Do that, and one day you'll wake up and realize you've completely transformed your life without even feeling like you tried. So now you know the secret sauce to beating laziness with the Japanese Kaizen principles. No more waiting for motivation, no more lying to yourself about that starting tomorrow BS. You're setting up your environment, stacking your habits, staying consistent, and celebrating the hell out of every little win. At this point, the only thing left to do is to actually do it. That's your job to figure it out. Also, if you ever feel like your social anxiety is holding you back from making these changes, I got you. Check out this video on how to handle social anxiety. It's packed with practical steps that will help you stop overthinking and start living. Anyway, I'm done yapping. If you want more of this, hit like so I know you actually enjoy me running my mouth. Otherwise, I'll just sit here and have an existential crisis in silence. Your call. And subscribe for more wake-up calls.